this code switch, if you will, and get other people to kind of understand what maybe a person who isn't as diversified would not be able to do. And especially with these type of issues, that is what's necessary. So I just wanted to bring it up because we talk a lot on Label TV about the labels once again, and we're always wanting to know how do we break through them or how do we supersede them so we're not bound by them. And that's one thing I would say is studying other cultures, immersing yourself in other dynamics that aren't even necessarily your comfort zone.
So I've done a lot of work with mental health, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things that we talk about is this stigma of mental illness or disabilities in general or whatever. And there is this human process called social distancing. Mm-hmm. And what it is that everybody's taught by mom and dad about what is safe and what is not safe, about what's like us and what's not like us. And we want to prepare our kids for that. And so that process gets started in youth at a very early age, right? Mm-hmm. And we develop stereotypes behind the labels. And then it comes to the point where it's just some dumb habit, right? Mm-hmm. So you look at the label, and the label hides the actual person behind the label. If you assign any label to a person, and all you do is pay attention to the characteristics of the label, you're going to forget who the person is. Mm-hmm. You need to actually hang out with the person in order to see each other as human beings. And those things disappear because you learn that it's not the label, right? It's mm-hmm. Helen Marie. Mm-hmm. It's right. Helen Marie right here, mm-hmm. And if you get into that frame of mind so that you're looking for those opportunities to get to know people and hang out with them and figure out what they're good at and help people discover what their strengths are and how to put them to good use, right? Mm-hmm. Then you make a different kind of process, mm-hmm. right? This is a dynamic world. This is not a simple world. So you can't ever cut things down to a quick slogan, right? Mm-hmm. There are some things that are pretty standard,
except
right?
for be water.
What?
Be water.
Be water.
Be water, Bruce Lee.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's a good slogan. That's
good.
Just
see, this is this cultural translation thing, right? It's like I either know it or don't, right? It's like I'm not a baseball fan, so you can't throw sports statistics at me. Either,
yeah,
right?
I understand.
It's like so, but so what, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not running for sports guy, mm-hmm. right? I'm running for the guy that can help tune up government a little bit and make it easier to hang out here. Mm-hmm. To make it so that when you get your tax bill, you're not frightened, about, the fact that, you could lose your property over something that you have no control of. Mm-hmm. I'm here to try and listen to people and figure out what I can do to make things a little better here in the county government by, those means, by hanging out and doing and helping people figure out what needs to be done and relying on some of the experts we have to do things.
So this election is pretty big. It's a major accomplishment already, just even being in this part of the process. Just to dream bit with you for a moment. Say you win, right? What's the next step? What do you envision? What is the main thing you want to focus on first? Do you have an idea of that you'd like to share with us?
Well, basic customer service. Mm-hmm. Are we getting good service from our government? Mm-hmm. So where is it that we are succeeding? Where is it where it's difficult to do business with the government? I mean, we've had this whole thing play out recently with the healthcare and the website. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many county websites we have, but they should work, mm-hmm. right? We have a lot of money, like 2/3 of the money in the county budget is run by boards and human service type work. So we should really get in there and take a look at some of that process and see what we can do that's better and more effective for people. And that's my basic effort, right? It's to show up for work every day. It's to listen to people and be there in the office so that I'm accessible to people and to hang out and listen. I want to be the guy that hangs out and listens with people and find out where things need to go and to show up and be there.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned your grandfather earlier. Is there any other influence you'd like to mention that has kind of propelled you to where you are right now?
Well, I've had the opportunity to go to a great undergraduate school at American University, and
That's
I went
in
to Chase in Washington,
Yeah,
D.C.
D.C.
Right? You know, and I went to Chase College of Law here locally, and I just finished a program in entrepreneurship over at Xavier University. So, you know, it really, you know, some of the academic people who just taught me about what the work is. One of my clients who really taught me about the way to approach health and healthcare is a fellow named Bill Malone, who ran Joseph House for Homeless Veterans. And he taught me about looking at people who had been through a big struggle, right? They may have been, you may think of them as homeless people, people who have failed in this world, who've been living on the streets for years and years and years. And what he did was he brought those people together, figured out what was common in their culture that they could relate to and was positive. And so he took the virtues of military service and created a community around that so that people could, you know, recover from difficult living situations and, you know, drug addictions and move forward.
And that's in Cincinnati?
And that's here in Cincinnati. When his people noticed that the house across the street was an open air drug market, what he did was organize and buy the house, right? And then he put sober people in it, right? So it's a real activist kind of philosophy.
That's awesome.
That you don't just do what you get a little bit of funding to do. You go looking for the problems and then you go after them and you solve them.
That's awesome.
You know, you tackle them because that's our job. Our job is not here to, you know, have the easy life. Our job is to have the life that gets us to our goals. And some of us have it easier than others, but everyone has a challenge. And everyone finds themselves stuck in habits that they'd rather not be in. So figuring out a way to pick yourself up and keep going, that's the cool thing.
And the beautiful thing, which I'm going to say again, and we talk about every show, is the fact that no matter where you are, you can always change it. You can always say, I'm tired of this situation, I don't like it, I want to do something different. And one reason why I'm really glad you're on the show is because we want to offer solutions as well, not just rhetoric and philosophy, but also resources and connecting it to the people who are actually in the community doing things as well to help connect the dots, so that if you do have some sort of issue that is hard for you to deal with independently, you can reach out to a support system, reach out to a program, reach out to individuals such as Paul, who have services set up in place, you know. I want to make sure we don't forget about, you know, your links, your websites, your social media. We're going to make sure that they can tag them off the screen, but would you like to just let us know, how do people stay in contact with you? What are some ways, I know, like I said, I mentioned you have a blog. What are some ways you can stay in contact with your movement?
Well, so I have my campaign website, which is Elect Komarek. Komarek. Everyone spells it wrong, but if you type it in a search box, I put all the misspellings in it, you know. And I have a publishing company called Church Basement Press.
I love the name of that. I just have to pause you. The brand of that is really dope. Church Basement Press. I just love it.
Well, you know, I mean, there's stuff that happens upstairs in church, but downstairs in church is where all the support groups are, right? The little printing press, you know. And if you start from there, right, you know, it's like where the work is done in terms of personal change and personal transformation, and the youth group, right? The youth group's always downstairs, right? And the fellowship afterward. That's really where churches build communities, and that's where those things, you know, connect. So that's why I picked that name.
And so I know. Just
so if you want to read my blogs and the stuff that I'm, you know, writing or whatever, then you can go to paulkomarek.us. And all of that stuff's collected, you know, right there. I have a Twitter feed. I have all of that, and that's all there. I have 2 Twitter feeds. I have one that sends out boring mental health stuff, and I have another one that sends out election stuff. So depending on how you know, what interests you, right? But what I write about is not about how to have your disease. You know, what I write about is how to recover, and then I write about the impact of mental health in public policy. Because if you look at all of the subjects that we really care about, right, we're dealing with a lot of people who've experienced trauma, a lot of people who are sort of living out, right? You know, they are living out past abuse. You know, they are looking to create a future but how do you arrange your life so that you can move forward, and how do you deliver the right kind of services that actually help people move forward in their lives, instead of just stick them in this service mentality where they stay connected to the system and never make progress in their lives. They call these difficult problems because they're difficult, and it's not that I have a lot of answers. I just have kind of a way to get a hold of someone.
Okay, well, I just wanted to ask the question for the person who's watching this and that says, wow, Paul, I love what you're doing. I want to stay connected. I'm going to follow you on all your sites. I'm going to go vote for you, all that. But in the meantime, right now, for the person who is maybe struggling with the things you're talking about, could you leave us with some tips or advice on either places they can go, books they can read, or maybe some habits that you do personally that kind of keep you in alignment with the philosophy you're sharing with us, the wisdom, the knowledge, all this great stuff that you're giving us? Could you leave us with any antidotes that we can pass on to our listeners so they can keep joining you on the journey and adding on to what you just gave them in this powerful session?
So I have 4 steps for a little plan to recover.
Hope for
right?
change.
Right, so there's the 12th step, right?
Uh-huh.
But I have 4, right?
Okay.
And it's 4 questions.
Okay.
So what is it that helps you make the most of your talents and capacity? So there's something out there that helps you make the most of what your talents and capacities are.
Mm-hmm.
Just write that down, scribble that down. What makes you less vulnerable? So there is something that you have to do in order to stay healthy. So you write that down. What helps you deal better with stress? So, everybody has a capacity to deal with stress, and stress doesn't help, right? So you figure out what those things are. You just scribble that stuff down too. And then at the end, what is it that really will help you address the risk of something going wrong? So all of us have stuff that we're not looking forward to, that we have, approaching us over the horizon. So what is that thing that you actually have to do? And you have to really follow all 4 things. This world is not simple enough that you can only do one thing.
Right.
You have to do a
Several
small
things
number of things,
consistently.
right? So just start with some things you can scribble on an envelope, and you can put your life at least in a little bit of a source, so that you know what it is that helps you be the best person that you are, and you take care of your risk, and you take care of yourself.
That's awesome. Well, Paul, I just want to thank you for coming on our show today, Label TV. It was an awesome conversation. I want you all to make sure that you stay tuned to everything that's going on. Follow his blog, follow his Twitter, all his social media chains, and make sure you go out and vote. What's the date again?
The first is the primary on May 6th, and the general election is in November 4th.
And
if you're not registered to vote, make sure that you're registered to vote.
Mm-hmm. And if they're not registered to vote and they want to get any more information about the the voting process, they want to go to where in Cincinnati?
Well, I have
I
came up with my own app.
Yeah.
So in Greater Cincinnati,
fancy.
if you go to verifyvote.com, it's a quick link to the Hamilton County Board of Elections website.
Verifyvote.com.
Right.
Okay, cool. And there's an app there.
Yeah, well, it's a dumb little website that looks okay on your phone. Okay,
awesome. So now look, we've empowered you with everything. There are no excuses. You know where to go, how to do it, and where you're going to go to do it, and who you're going to vote for, I'm guessing. And yeah, it's been a great time. Paul, do you want to leave us with any words?
Thank you. I appreciate the chance to get out and spread my message and help people move forward.
Well, thank you on behalf of Label TV, our viewers. We appreciate you coming in, sharing your story, sharing a little bit about what defines you and who you are becoming as an ever-evolving being. And we appreciate what you're doing for the community. We thank you, and we look forward to you coming back on our show soon, because we're going to have to wrap this up again after the elections. Have you come back.
Okay, cool. I'll do
All
it
right.
anytime. I'll interview you, because you're pretty cool.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. All right. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. See you all later.